Good morning. My name is Richard Weitz. I am a senior fellow and director of the Center for Political Military Analysis at the Hudson Institute. What I'm going to talk about today is the question of Korean denuclearization, particularly how do you get the North Korean government to end its nuclear weapons program, as well as its testing of ballistic missiles. One of the reasons that President Obama received the Nobel Peace Prize was his support of nuclear arms control and disarmament. A major barrier, though, to the realization of these goals is represented by North Korea's nuclear program. When the President gave his speech in Prague this April calling for further steps to counter nuclear proliferation, make progress in nuclear arms control, and make other advances in the area of arms control and disarmament. This was immediately after the North Koreans had test launched their latest long-range ballistic missile. This past month, when the President met with other leaders of foreign governments at the UN General Assembly and in the UN Security Council Summit on nuclear proliferation and arms control and nuclear security, the North Korean government issue came up again in the speeches that the President Obama gave, as well as his colleagues, citing as an obstacle towards the realization of their goals. The North Korean government has withdrawn from the six-party talks, which involve North Korea, South Korea, the United States, Japan, Russia, and China, that are seeking to denuclearize the Korean Peninsula and somehow integrate North Korea more closely to the rest of East Asia. In order to restart the talks, the Chinese government has been trying to encourage North Koreans to re-engage through various means, offering them additional economic aid and so on. This past week, the Prime Minister of China went to Pyongyang, met with North Korean leader Kim Jong-il, and got him to agree in principle to re-enter the six-party talks. But his condition was to have a stronger bilateral dialogue with the United States. There's always been a bit of a tension. The North Koreans have made clear they want to engage directly with the United States, and that's one of the reasons they've been testing nuclear explosive devices and these missiles, just to get our attention. The Bush administration and the Obama administration have said in principle they're willing to engage with the North Koreans, but they prefer to be in a multilateral context, such as the six-party talks. The other members of some of the other members of the talks recently had a summit a few days ago. That would be October 10th in Seoul. The President of South Korea and the Prime Minister of Japan met and discussed how they'd like to see the talks evolve. And what they're proposing to do is move away from the principle we followed since the talks began in earnest in 2003, which was this principle of action for action. The idea was the North Koreans would take a step towards nuclear disarmament, say, for example, eliminate their nuclear reactor at Yongbang or have it stop operations. In return, the other parties would offer various concessions, economic aid, political diplomatic recognition, for example. But the concern is this process isn't taking very long, and it also can work very easily in reverse. So, for example, if the North Koreans take a negative step, launch a missile, do something that is seen as objectionable by other parties, that other parties will retaliate, and then the North Koreans retaliate, and so you get the action-by-action process in reverse. So basically a descending downward spiral retaliation, tit-for-tat retaliation. They now propose to go for a grand bargain. You would basically resolve all the issues in dispute at once, and that would be North Korea would end its nuclear weapons program forever, dismantle it, make it verifiably eliminated, confirm what it had done in the past in terms of nuclear activities and trade, stop its long-range ballistic missile program, and perhaps make other concessions. Those are a bit vague in terms of human rights, arms, what conventional forces they might have facing South Korea. In return, the other governments would give various economic, diplomatic, and military security concessions. So, for example, you would remove them from all terrorist watch lists, lists of state sponsors of terrorism. You would give them additional economic assistance, fuel aid, perhaps build this is very controversial, some kind of nuclear reactor with less prolonged proliferation. But the idea is you would basically, as some people are proposing in the Middle East, just go straight for a final settlement rather than this long-term tit-for-tat process. What we don't know is how comfortable the North Korean government is willing to do this. After meeting in Seoul, the heads of South Korea and Japan went to Beijing and conferred with the head of the Chinese foreign minister, who had actually met with Kim Jong-il. And in principle, the Chinese seem open towards this type of arrangement, going for a grand settlement, but they're not sure if they can bring the North Koreans along. And that's really what people are going to look for the next 3 weeks. What degree of direct engagement the North Koreans will require with Washington to rejoin the six-party talks, and how comfortable they might feel going towards a grand, comprehensive settlement. In the past, they've actually preferred the stage-by-stage process. So thank you very much, and I look forward to continuing our dialogue later.